There we go.
All right. Hey, Rod, General, let me just start off with could you just give us a little bit of a background? I know that you were deployed, I think maybe a couple of times to Afghanistan during your military career. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it was in 2007 when a team, 18-man team, 16 from Guam, deployed. We were the embedded transition team. And our mission was to train an Afghan battalion on how to fight. And so when we deployed in 2007, prior to deploying, we went Fort Riley. And one of the nice things that what they do is before they send you into a combat zone, they want to make sure that you're certified and trained. So we went through a 3-month training period, and then we went to Afghanistan for a year. And so we were supposed to train Afghan battalion on how to fight and how to engage with the Taliban. And when we got there, my team, they broke up my team, and it was really sad. It was really bad for morale. And so we had one soldier in particular. What they did, they tried to keep the team as much as together as possible. So they had 2 people together in a team, but one team member was by himself, and that's Pat Cruz. And he had the hardest time adjusting to another team. So when we were there, for the first 3 months that I was there, I was mentoring Afghan colonel in operations, and they reorganized the Afghan structure, and they started the Afghan Regional Security Integration Command. So I got taken out of that role as a mentor, and I ran the personnel assignment operations for the East. And so anybody that came into the East, whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Romaines, the Poles, my job was to assign them to different areas in the East. So that's my background.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been watching the very dramatic media coverage of the pullout, the rise of the Taliban. Give us your initial reaction to that.
Well, at different levels. So at the soldier level, the tactical, I tell you, it's hard to see. Being there for a year and seeing all the blood, sweat, and tears shed while in the country, it's a hard pill to swallow. Very difficult. And some of my team members, we're getting together just to get together and kind of check on each other. The Chief of Staff of the Army sent out a message yesterday saying, hey, with what's going on in Afghanistan, it's going to bring out some feelings and some emotions. So please check on your soldiers. And so that's what we're doing. We're getting together and we're just making sure that at the soldier level, we're okay. But at the strategic level, going into Afghanistan was very important. As a result of going into Afghanistan, we were able to develop better relationships with some countries, and that resulted in better intelligence gathering, better ways to deal with terrorism. And the biggest thing that resulted in going to Afghanistan is we were able to get Osama bin Laden. And so if we didn't go into Afghanistan, none of that would have been accomplished.
Yeah. What is your reaction to the reports of Afghan soldiers just laying down their arms and not really putting up much resistance against the Taliban? Does that surprise you? What's your reaction?
So when I was in Afghanistan, in the East, we were the first region to have a company certified to fight. So I talked about how before the Army sends send a team out or a unit out, they make sure they're trained and certified. So that's what we implemented in Afghanistan. We wanted to make sure this company, this unit, this battalion, this brigade was certified to fight. And so when I was in there, the first company was certified in the East, which was a big deal. So they have the skill set and they had the equipment. But I suspect what's going on is when I was there, the soldiers, the Afghan army, they were given equipment, but they didn't maintain the equipment well. And I remember going onto a firing range, and I saw this crew. It's a M60. They were with an M60, which is a crew serve weapon. Takes at least 2 people to operate an M60. So to reload that M60, you have to open the feeding tray. You put in the ammunition and it's the belt, and then you close it. The latch that locked in that feeding tray broke. And so what the Afghan army, what they would do to compensate for that latch breaking, they would break out duct tape. And so to reload, they would have to untape the cover, load, close it, and retape, which was not very effective in operations in a war. So they didn't have good equipment. They started off with good equipment. They probably, most of the equipment was probably not functional, and so that I believe is one of the main reasons. The other reason is the soldiers, they're not paid well, and so if I'm going to lay my life down and fight for my country, and you're giving me a very little amount of money, this is not worth it. I'm going to go. But also, I believe the biggest factor was that when you join the Afghan army, you're assigned to a different area. So there's the north, south, east, and west. So if I'm from the south, for example, they would send me to the north, and so that's where my base would be. And here, the Taliban's coming in to Afghanistan, and they're taking over the country little by little. I'm worried about my family in the north, and so I'm going to do what I can to take care of my family. So I believe those are the 3 main factors why the soldiers didn't put up a fight.
Yeah, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. But do you think the pullout, the withdrawal after 20 years is justified now?
So my personal opinion is we tried, so 20 years of war and 20 years of service members, men and women going in there, sacrificing their lives and getting wounded. And then the billions and trillions of dollars. And so the pullout, I believe, needed to happen. So when the Afghan war started, the main mission was to hold those accountable for the attacks on 911, and they completed that mission. But then they realized that if they pull out after they completed that mission, it's just going to go right back to where it was before, and then the region would create an environment where terrorists can grow and then attack the U.S. So the mission changed from holding those accountable to building a nation, and so that's what they wanted to do, and that's where they spent billions of dollars, trillions of dollars to build that nation, so that nation can be self-sufficient and that they can stand up to any force. But I believe there was corruption going on, and that didn't take. And so I think pulling out is the only thing to do. If history repeated itself, Alexander the Great tried to take over that area. The British, the Russians tried to take over that area, and history just repeats itself. And so here the U.S. tried to take over that area, and they succeed. So I think pulling out, it's saving the U.S. money, saving the U.S. More soldiers' lives, and some heartbreak.
And finally, how important is it for the U.S. to try and evacuate those personnel Afghan people who helped the troops, the interpreters, the guides, those kind of people? How important is it that the U.S. tries to evacuate them.
Boy, that is key. That is very important. When I was in Afghanistan, we had a lot of people working for us, and the interpreters were key to developing relationships. And I remember the life of an interpreter. There was one interpreter that I knew very well. These interpreters don't go home. They stay on the base because they're afraid of their life and the lives of their family members. One interpreter got caught, and he and his family were killed. And so that's how dangerous it is for all these people that help the United States. And so it's important that anybody that had a part in helping the United States, that they get out. I will tell you that that process started years and years and years ago. One of my team members, Ambrose Constantino, before he left, his interpreter asked him to help him get out of country. And Ambrose Constantino wrote a letter of recommendation, and he followed it through. And his interpreter is somewhere in California and owns a pizza restaurant making pizzas. And so these people the Afghan people that put their lives at risk and their families at risk their families' lives, it's important that we show that we appreciate them, and we need them, and we need to get them out.
Hey, thanks a lot, General. Really appreciate your time. Great stuff. Great interview.
Okay. Hey, thank you, sir, and you take care.